All right, Edward. Tell me how do you homogenize the milk?
Well, first thing you do is you get it from the cow, strain it, and then you put it in the heater. Take the cream out, so you don't have it homogenized. You got just like it's almost like skim milk, and then you add just a little bit back to get your bacteria up a certain height. I forget what it is offhand now, and put it in a bottle and sell it. And when you got to put the cap on. You keep it in the refrigerator overnight, and the next day it goes out.
Hmm. How old were you when you learned how to do that?
I guess I started when I was a little fart. Because we were in there all the time. We had to clean behind the cows, clean out the trough. We had to put the barley in the front, the oats in the barley mix, the alfalfa hay for them to eat as long as you get milk. And I could take the milkers off, but I couldn't put them on. I didn't know how to push them up quick enough. You got, you have four of them, four. Some of them have five. We had a surge that had four, and a couple of them that have five on, so you can milk real quick on a lot of them. And a lot of them you couldn't do milk. You had to strip them after, because they'd just hold back. So Dad used to go around and strip them all. I don't know how he put his hand around this way. He get it out quick though. We did a lot of that hard stuff. You clean behind the cows, we had to wash it. Then you had to wash the wall. If it squirted, make sure that there was nothing on the wall behind it, because the inspector come by and he'd mark you up on it. That's when Dad had A1 raw milk dairy for about 18 years straight.
Did your dad did he establish that dairy, or did he inherit it from his parents? Did his parents have one as well?
He started himself, him and his grandmother. I mean, him and his mother started the dairy, and Dad kept it up when she got older, and Dad just kept it up until, see, I was about 18, I guess, when we quit delivering milk.
Wow.
I had my driver's license at 15. Went up to the city of Berkeley and got the driver's license.
What city was your dairy in?
Berkeley.
Oh, so where your father established it was Berkeley as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
6th and Harrison.
6th and Harrison in Berkeley. So you grew up in that area?
We lived over on Page Street, about 4 blocks from the dairy. We lived in one of the houses that they had. And my grandmother, see, the house that Dad was raised in, his father built that house right from scratch. And the funniest part, the gal that he married had the same name as my father. Identical last names were spelt the same way.
What was the last name?
Arciera.
Arciera, that's right. So he found a girl, her last name was the same as his last name, basically.
She come from Italy too.
Oh, okay.
She come from Italy, and my grandfather and grandmother on Dad's side were from Italy, and on my mother's side, mine were there from them too. They all come from Italy, and they're the ones that started the Donnieville, the little town of Donnieville. Mm-hmm. My grandfather and grandmother started that little town. And the old gold mine and the silver mine is still there. And it's locked up. Nobody can get into it. But they started that. I got some gold out of it, and I got some silver out of it.
You still have it?
I still got it.
Amazing.
They locked it up, and the state wanted to open it up, and they were trying to find out who could get into it, and said nobody. And they got in the front, we got a bar going through there. It's about that big around, and it's down in the ground underneath there. Nobody knows how to unlock it. But we when they locked it up, that was it. We just locked it up and said, forget it. Nobody can get into it. The state like to get into it because there's a lot of silver and gold in there yet. And I got some gold and I got some silver out of there. And there was a big chunk hanging on the ceiling. We went by and we just tapped it. Choo, got a piece. So we got some. I think I got four pieces of silver, 4 pieces of gold out of the mine, and then.
And you're saying that the mine belonged to your grandfather?
Yeah. On my mother's side.
And you said, what town was the mine in? What town was the mine in?
Shit, I don't remember. They used to. Donnieville has changed so much now compared to what it was. But the mine, the silver mines here and the gold mines on this side, and the original house is sitting over here, and it's got, everybody calls it a refrigerator and ice box. There's a whole lot of difference. But the original ice box is still up in the house. They'd redone the floors in the house, then they sanded them out like they were worn a little bit. So it looks there, and they got the old wood stove that they cooked on, and the one there that is just a 1, 2, 3. I think there's 4 steps, and you open up a little door, and you put your wood. They put the wood in there. So we took it out and put it into the wood burning stove right there. It's still. Last time I was up there, it still left the same.
When your father established the dairy with his mother, your grandmother, did he start it initially just as a dairy, or did he intend it also to be raising cattle for beef?
No, he just started delivering milk.
So he wasn't doing the beef yet?
No.
Not initially. He started that later? How many years before he did the dairy? When did he start the beef?
That was when, probably in 47, 48.
You were born already or not yet?
Yeah, I was born.
Yeah.
I was born in 39.
Oh, okay.
I was born in 39, and because they got, let's see. Uncle George, which is my mother's brother, he used to deliver the milk in the afternoon, at night. And my mom and my cousin and I used to deliver with her. She'd drive the truck, and my cousin and I would run to put the milk up in the porch, then take a scoop of ice, put it in the box, put the milk in, throw the ice on top so they had cold raw milk all the time.
When you were doing that, was all the milk raw, or did people pick, they selected homogenized or pasteurized or whatever?
Everybody had the same, all raw milk.
Okay.
Raw milk didn't come in, pasteurized didn't come in until 49. 48 or 49.
In your opinion, around that time, from what you saw, why did they start the pasteurization? Were there problems with some dairies? They were giving bad milk or something like that, or what do you think it was?
Some doctor got in his head that it should have been pasteurized milk, and raw milk, pasteurized milk, and then they went to homogenized, which is almost like skim milk. And you just take all the cream out, and you leave a little bit in. And what you do, you got a scooper, and you just scoop the cream off the top. That went for butter. We used to make our own butter there too. They did the whole kit and caboodle. And I learned how to do all that crap, and my cousin and I, we got caught all the time doing it. They said, go to work. Then we had to go there, and then we couldn't take the 10-gallon cans out of the oven to take the cooker like. We couldn't take it out. They were too heavy and too hot for us, so we had a bail hook. We used to grab by the handle and just pull them out. Then we put the bail hook over the side, and when the little buzzer go off, open the door, you pull it out, and you put 3 more in, take it out. They only hold 3 cans at a time. But that's what, and then we got over there, and then My brother, he did have the old the bottle of milk. Put the 2 milk bottles underneath there, and you pull the hammer down, and then you just pull the one on the side, and you just watch it, and then shoop, you shut it off. And he comes over, and you put the capper on this. It was just like a bar here, and you had a roll of caps sticking up. You're that high, you just go down and go bloop, 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 bloop. Put your cap on and put it in the box and put it in the freezer. We used to call them a freezer at that time. It was because it's all it was just chunks of ice in there to keep it cold. They didn't have none of this modern stuff. Then I went to work for, Dad went to work for Challenge after he gave the dairy up. And then I went to work.
Did he still have the beef farm, like the cattle farm for raising beef? So he stopped the dairy but continued with the beef?
Yeah.
So did he sell the dairy portion off?
What he did, he closed the dairy down because it was getting too damn. Everything had to be just so.
Like, you mean regulated or something?
Oh, they were starting. That's when they first started to regulate everything, and they come in. They check it today, and all of a sudden, maybe 2 hours later, there'd be another joker come and check you. And then one guy, I fixed him. I was out there. You remember the wheelbarrows when they first come out with the 2 wheels on them? Back in about 44, 45. They didn't go over that good. But we had one there. So we had to push it out, dump it, then bring it back. And then the guy used to come from some farm that grew vegetables and stuff. He used to come out there every other day, get 2 loads of manure, take it out and dump it in the field and spread it so he could turn it under. That's when they had the good vegetables. And I said, Jesus, we had apples, we had peaches, we had pears, we had everything. They come down to get a load of manure, and they bring a big old box of fruit down for you. They didn't charge you for the manure or nothing though. Mm-hmm. They bring all the fruit down, and they just says okay. That was good enough. But and then after a while, we had to take and start getting rid of that manure ourselves. So we had to. They were starting to get into regulations back in the 56, 51, 52s. They started regulating everything. So we used to just, the mushroom farm used to come and get it. Then he brought 4 or 5 loads out to the cheese factory of milk every other day. He'd make 2 trips out there, sometimes 3 trips. Bring the 10-gallon cans of milk out, all the extra milk that they didn't need. And that's when South Berkeley Farm, that you know by, old Sabatti brothers, they were buying the milk from my father, the pasteurized and sell it. That's how they started. Mr. Sabatti himself started it. Now, I think the grandkids are running it now. They call it Berkeley Farm. It's not in Berkeley, it's in Oakland. Mm-hmm. But they just named it Berkeley Farm. I remember a lot of them old places.
How long did your father keep running the cattle business for the beef?
Up until 50, 58, 59. Then he gave up. Then he went.
What did he sell it to another company or something, or?
Sold it all out. Just sold the ranch off and everything. Got rid of everything.
How did you feel about that? Did you have any interest in continuing with that, or were you ready to move on too?
No, I was getting fed up with it because you had to go in and you had to put boots on. And it's a hot day. You got to wear goddamn rubber boots. And that gets hot on your feet. And then they come in and they check you, make sure you had this, you had that, you had all this crap that you had to do. And if there was a spot on the wall or something, that one of the cows had a little bit of the grass and it hit the wall, you missed one spot, he'd mark you down for it.
Is this people from the state?
Yeah, when they got a job, they thought they were the top king because they were going around checking the ranches. And old Johnny McCarty, he fixed one guy. He put a rope down across where we were dumping the manure at. And he figured out just about where that rope had to go. You couldn't see it. It was right in between two boards. And he was way over where the fence starts, that new fence part.
Mm-hmm.
He had the rope fit over there. He just pulled it quick, and that guy was walking. He went karoop, head first right in the manure. I'll never forget it. He come out. He was sopping wet with that fresh manure. He got in his car, and took off, and never came back. I guess he told the company he wasn't going back to check no more. I mean, that's when he decided to get out of the business because they were getting too strict on everything. You couldn't do nothing. And like me, I got my pants always down low because I always get the foxtails in my stockings and everything. I got used to that. That's why I wear the heel out the back of my pants. See how I wear them in the back?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way it's got to be. I can't help it. I got used to that. But we did. My cousin and I, we worked our butts off on that ranch. But he had a place out in town to San Pablo. Then he went to another place that gave us he got a better deal on renting a piece of property out there. Because Berkeley was kicking you out. The Lindy Air took 10 acres and they put a big plant in there. And then little by little, they were pushing everybody out. And McDermott started the slaughterhouse down there by the freeway. Well, kept pushing him until they finally got him out of business too. There was 3 slaughterhouses there, and we could bring the old cow down there, something that wasn't, time for her to go. She wasn't producing no more. They give you a top dollar for it down there. They had it for the meat. That's all they cared. So they just had that, and then all of a sudden they just decided to forget it. They went out of business. That was McDermott's slaughterhouse. He gave it up, and then he went in the grocery business, and I went to work for him for 6 months. I think I worked for him.
Was that after your dad sold the cattle in the beef company? You went on to, what did you go on to do after that? You said the other slaughterhouse, or?
No, I got out of that completely. I went furniture making.
Oh, furniture. That's right. Okay.
Well, I went as learned how to do finishing.
Did you already have some experience with furniture making, and now you went into it full time, or did you start from scratch at that point?
I took a little bit of woodworking in school.
High school?
Yeah, so I knew more or less what I had to do, and then they took and
what high school was that? There in Berkeley?
Yeah, Berkeley High. And then when they kind of switched stuff around, then they put me in the finish room, and I learned how to finish furniture. Mixed my own stain and got the colors they wanted. And we were the first company that ever started the white furniture. He should have put a patent on that son of a bitch when we did it. And that was a mistake I did.
Excuse me. What do you mean white furniture? Like painted white or stained a certain white color, or what do you mean?
You see the furniture that's white and it's got like a brown coat on top of it.
Okay. And you're saying that started back then with y'all?
I started that. What I did, I put the cup down, and I had some white in it, and I picked up one table, I didn't go high enough, and I knocked it down, and went on, so I was trying to wipe it off one, and he come in, he says, "What the hell did you do?" I says, "Oh, I put the cup here," and I says, and I had to touch it, so I had a little bit of paint there, I had it in there, and now I spilt it. He says, "That's all right. make it even over the whole table. He said, then put some glaze on it. We'll see what color it comes out to be. That's how the white furniture came into market.
By accident.
By just an accident, my fault, but I did it. Uh, But John Richardson Furniture was in business for, let's see, I put 42 years with him.
Wow.
I worked after school and everything. I worked every day after school. I learned how to do the spraying and everything with him. He showed me how to spray, how to stain, and the way they do it today, I don't like it, because you don't get an even contrast of the color. The way we used to do it, we'd mix up to get the stain ready, and put it in a spray cup, and we'd spray it. Then take a sponge and you wipe it all down. And then when you get it all wiped down, you take another sponge and you go over and you get it so it's almost dry like. Leave it set overnight, and then you put your sealer on the next day. Let it set for 4 hours, sand it, and then you give it a coat of lacquer, and that's all for the day. Then the next day you go back, you sand it first thing in the morning, and then you give it another coat, and that night it's ready to get sand again. Then you put your final coat on, which is the same. It's a lacquer base all the way through. The only difference is the last coat you put 2 parts of lacquer and 4 parts of thinner in there, so it flows. That gives a nice finish to it, and you don't have to wax it. You don't have to do nothing. It stays like that. My tables, I never waxed them. They just stay the same. I learned how to do a lot of different things, but I was interested in doing something different. Now my brother, he was just the opposite. He didn't give a damn about nothing. He still don't. But that's the way it goes, though.
Is that your younger brother or older brother?
Younger one. He was raising cattle too for a while. He did pretty good till they bought the land away. He was renting the land and then they took it away, but he made good when he sold, because at the time he had about 110 heads in, and he just wiped it all out and let them go. He sold the whole thing, the price was way up, and he did good on them. Then he went and worked for another guy, and he was out there irrigating and stuff for him. Instead of doing it for himself, he did it for somebody else. Then he just finally retired too. He said to hell with it. So we all got, him and I both got out. Let's see, he was in about 4 years or more than I was. But I figured I went driving truck. I got out of the dairy game, and then I was hauling, well, I just worked for them, and then they needed a load of furniture, had to go down to L.A. Shit, I look at the map, I said, Jesus Christ, all this crazy freeway stuff. And then I got used to it. It was nothing to driving down there. I drive down, unload, then come back up. Sometimes I had to stop, pick up a load of lumber, come in. And I got to learn how to pick out my straight grain lumber, and I didn't want the flour. See, on a flour is okay that you might like, but 90% of the people don't want the flour grain. They want straight grain on tops. And we used to make our own veneer. We'd take it down to a shop down there that they had the slicer that would just go like this and just cut it. And then we'd just bring it back in a sheet, and then we'd just put it in our own press, put our own glue on there, glue it down, made our 3/4 tops of 7/8, and then when you get done, you only got a piece of veneer on top about that thick. That's why I'm very particular. I don't let the kids go around my table, because I don't want them to bang them, because I got nothing on the top to sand. And I got Myrtle Burl tops. I got Then I got a cabinet. I got walnut doors on one, and then I got the walnut door frames with the myrtle in the panel. Just something different. And I gave coffee tables away, end tables away. I had no room over at this dump for them. But if I had room, I'd have kept them all. Shit, I'd have had all kinds of stuff I built. But I got one. I got a cabinet. I got the TV on. I got another one. I got a stereo and all that hooked up in another one. And I got a table over this side, and I got one at the corner and one down the other corner. I just kept a few tables. Then I had to get rid of my coffee table, and it had two sliders that went on the ends that went underneath. I had no room for it over here. So that's the way, I hated to get rid of them, but I had to. I had no place to put them. And this little dump don't have room for nothing. But see, the other one, I had 3 bedrooms. Then I had a room in the back.
Before you moved here, where were you living?
Willows.
Willows, okay.
And before that, I was up in Eureka. Not Yreka, but Eureka. There's 2. One's on the coast and one's inland. It's just, I was 5 minutes from the border of Oregon.
Oh.
And I used to go into Oregon and do all my shopping because it was cheaper. And I get my gas cheaper up there in Oregon too. And then when I moved here, I sold my tank. I should have kept it. But I had a 75 gallon diesel tank. I had it in the back of my pickup. And then I picked up this used truck, and I haven't had no trouble with it. It had 62,000 on it. I got over 112 or 114,000. I haven't had no trouble with that little Ford.
And just for anybody watching this, tell me your last name. I know your last name, but you say it, your last name?
Arciera.
Arciera. And you say your dad was Italian?
Yeah.
Did his parents came from Italy?
And so did mother's parents come from
Oh, that's right, yeah. Arciera.
They ended up in Donnieville. My mother's parents ended up in Donnieville, and Dad's father is the one that started the water company in Berkeley. He dug all the streets up and put the pipes in for all the water lines. Him and 2 other guys. All 3 old men out there digging the street and put the pipes in. And they used to come, even before he passed away, they used to come, "Hey Pacho, where the pipe for this, for the pipe over there, where that one is?" That one there come out of there. He'd be going with his hands this way, he wasn't figuring out. Oh, he says, "Go up on 16th. And then he says, you gotta go north 2 blocks, and then it makes a turn and comes down, and it catches all them new houses in there." But he knew exactly where he put all the pipes at.
He had it all in his head.
And then after he passed away, they had to fix a couple of leaks. They didn't know which way they were going. And they come and they asked my dad, and my father says, "Why you asking me? I never did it. My papa did, not me."
How many brothers and sisters was it? It was you and your brother. That's it? Any sisters or anything? Or 2?
There were 4 of us.
2 sisters, 2 boys, 2 girls.
My brother and then I had 2 sisters. I only got 1 brother left. I think that's all that's left. One died at, she was 34. Then the other one, she was 41.
Both young.
Yeah. And then my brother, he should be about 57 now. 58.
Oh, wow. He's a lot younger. Wow. He's like a really little brother. Golly. That's like,
He's the little one.
that's like over 20 year difference. Wow.
Yeah, see, there were two girls in between.
Yeah.
I was the oldest.
They must have had you when they were really young, and then they had him in their, what, I don't know,
Well,
40s or
Mom
something?
was, Mom was 30, 39 or 40.
When she had your brother?
No, Bobby was born in 49, and I was born
Oh,
in
that's only,
39.
okay, that's 10 years. Okay. Okay, excuse me. I thought it was much further up. You were much further apart. Okay.
No, I was born in 39. He was born in 49.
Okay. So 10 years apart.
And I got two sisters who were in between.
Okay. I'm
No,
sorry.
one in between him. She passed away, and my other sister, last I knew, she was still kicking a little bit. She wasn't doing that good. But then when I moved out of there, I'm up here. I didn't go down there no more. 'Cause if I could sell this place and get a good price for it, I'd dump it. I'll go back to Willows. I like it in Willows. I don't care for it up here.
What don't you like about it over here?
I just don't care for the area. I don't care for the dampness there.
Humidity?
It's like this morning I come down here, it was beautiful, just like this in here this morning. Over there, the wind blowing all day. I just don't like it. But that's where I got to stay for a while. I can't.
What brought you here?
My cousin,
They convinced you to come over here?
they didn't want to go down and see me down there all the time.
So you moved closer to them.
Still there. You know when you go out to the lake? And
Lopez Lake?
Huh?
Lopez Lake?
Yeah. All right. You go right through town and go up, and then you go. There's a bridge there. They call it the White Bridge. Then you turn that, go down to the stop sign, the boulevard stop, make a left turn and follow that all the way down till you see a bunch of grapes on the side of a hill. That's where they live. And I've been up there picking grapes, make the wine, a bottle of wine with them. Then I bring some wine home for myself. Then I got to save the bottle because he puts them in the sterilizer, and he does his bottles that cost so damn much, so he washes them.
You said this is your cousin. So he's the son of your dad's brother or mom's?
My mother's brother.
Okay, so on your mom's side,
Yeah.
her brother's son, that's him. Okay. What's his name?
George?
Same last name?
No, Elliot. George Elliot. He does gardener work. He goes cuts the lawns and trims and stuff like that.
But the winery that he has is like a side hobby or something?
That's just a hobby for himself.
How much land does he have to do that?
I think he's got 14 acres there. Well, when you come down the road, you see a bunch of the vineyards all in the bottom. Just like this whole thing here is all vineyard, but then it goes up the hill this way. And I turned all the ground under for him already up there.
So he said, I don't want to drive so far to see you in Willows, so he wanted you to move down here?
Yeah, they wanted me to come up here.
But you're ready to go back.
I like it back in Willows a lot better. I don't know just like when I went out like this morning, it was like a misty rain. And I went down there. I used to go by the hospital every day with the dog. And these guys here, they knew what window to look up at. If they were going to go this window or that window, they knew which one and where the nurses were. And they'd them out a dog biscuit each one. And these two don't say they don't remember. They knew. Hey, Fred. He don't hear me. He's getting old like me, deaf. You ready to go?
Well, thank you for sharing your story. I'll send you the link to it. I appreciate it. Next time I'm going to interview you about your hunting adventures. Tell me that one last story you mentioned the other day. You say when you would go fishing, just in case I don't catch you here soon. Tell me that one about when you go fishing, how you would store them in the milk carton.
Oh, you just put them in the milk carton. You take the water right out of the lake. You want to leave them in the same water. But if you take them out and put them in fresh water, you lose the flavor. You leave them in the water that's in the lake, but you go out towards the center a little bit and just scoop up. We just take a bucket and we just scoop some water up.
From the center of the lake, not the edges.
No, because you got all the crap on the edge.
So get the nice pure
So you
water.
You get the natural spring water. And the Davis Lake has got 3 springs only in it. That's how we used to hunt there and they used to camp on the island. And that's how we knew where the fresh water was.
What did you used to hunt for there?
Deer.
Tell me, I think you mentioned the other day, do you ever, tell me, you don't use a scope when you hunt for deer? Just the basic sight on there?
No, I got a peep sight on. I put a peep sight on my guns. They're better than a regular sight and they're better than a scope.
You've always shot that way?
All the time.
Drop shoot?
I drop shoot. I can't stand there and stand and point at that deer for an hour. I just, boom, that's it. He's dead. They call it a drop shooter.
Did you target practice to get that skill? Like you'd put up targets and practice? No.
I had to.
Just live shot.
No, because I had to cock my head over. But see, I damn near lost this eye and this arm.
How?
Goddamn cat.
A cat?
Yeah,
What do you mean a cat?
a cat.
Like a house cat or like a wild cat?
A house cat.
What happened?
I was delivering milk. And I put an arm like this and he scratched all the side of my face, ripped this arm all up. They told me I'd never use it, but I made up my mind I was going to use it. You can still see some of the scars on here a little bit. See them? I was wrapped up for damn near 6 months.
A house cat got you. That's crazy, man.
See the scar? See him? See the scar? See, they're going away now, but see how where he bit me? Those are from bites. But I got them. Anyway, this whole arm was all screwed up. They told me I'd never use it, but I used it.
How old were you when that happened? The cat incident?
13,
Wow.
delivering milk.
Okay, so it was that you were a little boy and so the cat did some damage. Okay.
Yeah. And the cat didn't live though. I didn't kill it all the way, but the owner did. Mom had to take me up to the emergency right away. And one doctor told us, I doubt if he'll ever use that arm. And when I heard him tell my mother that, I says, you're wrong. I'm going to use it every day. And I did. I work it every day. I did. They had it all bandaged up, and I'd move this way, and I'd go this way, back and forth. But it stayed stiff this way. But as they got the bandages off, then I started twisting and whatnot. I says, I'll keep him moving. And he'd drop a zinc pen or a pencil or something on the floor and tell me to pick it up. I was dummy 2 times in a row, but the 3rd time I wasn't a dummy. Boom, right the needle right through your pants, right into your buttons. I never said nothing to Mom about it. I said, what the hell's wrong with that doctor? I don't like him. Well, he dropped his pen down there and he said, pick it up. I said, you're younger than me, you pick it up. He left the needle sitting there, so when he bent over like this to pick it up, I gave him the needle. And I pushed it with the needle in one hand, hold it, and I just pushed it. He got the juice in him.
How old were you when you did that?
13.
You got even.
So he didn't like it. He didn't like me no more after that. And then he sent me to another doctor. And then I didn't like that guy. And I told Mom, I said, no, I'll go see Dr. Cunningham again. I like him better. And that was his doctor that brought me into the world anyway. So he says, I'll take care of you. And then he had a nurse there. Her name was Minnie. And she was a good little nurse. So everybody liked her. She knew what to do. And he says, you got his stuff ready? She says, right there. She was ahead of him all the time and knew what I had to have in the shots and everything. But I used to get 3 shots in this arm, 2 in this arm, and then I think 1 on each side of the cheek. They had to keep the, what the hell do you call it? It was something to do with getting your arm getting stiff. So they had to give me all them shots and whatnot. Shit, I went for almost 2 years. Every day get 4 and 5 shots. You know, and I couldn't go swimming. I couldn't do this. I couldn't do that because it affected both ears. And they said he didn't want. He put the rubber plugs in. He says no. He said the water will get into your ears, and then you're going to have trouble with your ears. So I couldn't go swimming. I never learned how to swim because I had double access in this one and regular access on this side. I mean, I was screwed up when I was small, I tell you. But I get around pretty good, though.
You sure do.
And that's why I got this one and that one to take me out for a walk every day.
Well, all right. I kept you on here for 40 minutes, so that was a good conversation. Thank you for all the stories, and yeah, thank you for sharing all that.
I tell you the truth on it.
I believe you.
And I can show you that we got the milk bottle. I can show you our name on the milk bottle.
Oh, okay.
It's got our Sierra Dairy, Berkeley, California. It's the Batty brothers. That's how he started. He was getting the milk from my father. And then he never had a dairy. All he did was just bottle the milk. And he just went South Berkeley Creamery, that's what they call it now. And old man Sabatti passed away and the sons took it over, and I think it was 67, 68, somewhere in there when his 2 sons took the business over. They're doing good on their own. But he never had a cow in his life, that guy. All he did was just buy the milk and then he processed it. And I worked for him for about 6 months. I said to my mother, I said, what the hell am I working for him for? I don't like it. I'll get out of the milk business. I'm tired of it. And then I went to work for a grocery store, and I went to USAID Market. I got a job with them, and I worked from from a carry-out boy to a bagger to a checker to a night manager. I said, that's good enough. I get out of business now.
What grocery store was that?
USAID Market.
USAID Market. I got you. Okay.
I think they got 3 stores. They got one in Berkeley, one in down by Contra Costa County. We got one, and they got one in Fremont. That's the last I knew. I think opened up 3 stores. We only had the one though when I was working for him. And I started as a carry-out boy. Went up all the way to the night manager. So I learned how to do a lot of stuff. Took me a while to figure it out, a lot of stuff, but I could do it.
Well, thank you for sharing all those memories with me.
One day I have to bring that book down and show you.
That'd be good. I appreciate that.
On the deers and stuff you put on the stroke, and everybody looks at it. Well, I got one head, one, I don't have the head, I got just the horn on it. I got 5.
Oh, look, everybody's gone. I can throw the ball now. Let's see. Hey, guys, go. There you go. All right.
Not that. I did a lot of stuff. I worked for USA Market. Then I went to the Fremont store and I gave that up. Then I used to go down there, take stuff that we had on sale one week, they have it the following week. So we just load it in the truck and take it down. Then they could sell it down there. And then, at that time, the sugar, the flour, and the butter was the biggest sellers. Until we used to sell that. And at night, starting the customers come in at night, she go, 2? Right there. If she put 2 over there, I'd just ring up one and then I'd ring up another one, so it wouldn't be the same, be 4 or 5 items different. So they didn't know. What the hell's the difference? If you want 2 pounds of butter, I give you 2 pounds of butter. It didn't bother me. And I used to bring a lot of stuff home though. Stuff that was gonna go to the garbage, not wrong. That's why a lot of these stores go broke, because they throw too much stuff away. To me, a little store has to watch his dimes and his pennies. The bigger store, they don't care because they throw it away. They take it as a write-off. And like when we had the flour, the biggest thing was flour, sugar, and butter. That's what we used to sell because everybody used to bake. Now they don't bake like they used to. But the old folks used to do a lot of baking. I brought cakes home, I brought pies home, I brought everything. But now they don't have it like they used to. Everything comes in already cooked, baked. You just go buy it and pick it up and take it home. But we had a dime store in there, and then we had a little restaurant, and we had a drugstore, then the grocery store, the meat market, the deli, it was all in one building. And that guy did good though. Till the night I quit, and then he didn't know what the hell to do. He didn't even know how to lock the place up. He didn't know how to put the money in the safe. See, they don't. There's only two or three guys got a key to open up the outside safe. You use the combination, you pop it open. Then it's the inside one, you got to have a key. The inside one, you got to turn the knob over here first, the combination. Then you got to have the key to fit it to open it up. That money goes down into the bottom. It's in like a big basket down there. Then they got to take it out. That's why these guys don't go for a lot of these. You see that guy got a safe up in the corner or something. They don't want to fool with that because they know they can't get into them. But if you just got one on the wall, that's duck soup for them. They can just knock that thing down and take and go. But when you got it cemented in the floor, they can't. Because you got like the main safe on top, then there's another one sitting down, about that low behind underneath where you got to open that one up, and then you got the one on the bottom. Then we couldn't keep no $100 bills in our cash register. I used to have to fold them up, put them in my pocket, so nobody knew what you do. Because that's when they start robbing the stores, and so they had to do a lot of Mickey Mouse stuff. And I was the first one to put down the driver's license on the bottom of the check. I started that myself. I had 3 checks that bounced. And I was the night manager, and You know, I want to take out a driver's license. I put the driver's license number on there. So I put it on, and 2 days later, they called me in the office. What the hell is this number down here? What does it say? DL, driver license. Oh, okay, the check bounce? Call the DMV. Give them that number. They'll tell you the address, you go get your money. That's how that started. It just come, I don't know, I had a couple of them bounced on me, so I just said, okay, I'm going to start doing that. I'll put the driver license number down. It worked. That's why a lot of places ask you for a driver license now. Because it just started back in 57 when I started doing that. 56, 57. And me, 17 years old and managing a damn store. One of them things though, you know, I did a lot of crazy things, but I did a lot of stuff that was pretty good. Well, I guess I better get going.
All right, man. Thank you.